In this video, I'm going to be teaching how to cut and sew this trouser with rope or elastic on the waist. If you are interested in it, kindly watch till the end. So I've folded this fabric into two, and that's what I'll be using to cut out the trouser. So I'll be using these measurements. The length of my trouser is 39 inches, so I'll be using 39 inches for the length, and then I'll be adding extra 2 inches to it for folding. So 39 plus 2 inches will be 41 inches. So from the lower part, I'll be measuring 41 inches up. That is for the length of the trouser, and then later I'll be marking the 2 inches for the folding down there. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to connect the points together with my ruler to get a straight line, and that line becomes our waistline. So I'm marking the 2 inches down there for folding. This part didn't really show, but then I just marked the 2 inches I added for folding down there. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to look for the crotch depth, and it is gotten by dividing the hip into 4. So I have 41 plus 1 inches divided by 4. It's actually 10.5 inches. I made a mistake over there. So whatever your hip is, add 1 inch to it and then divide by 4. So I have 10.5 inches over here, and then I've marked it down there and at the other side as well. After marking, I'll be connecting the points together with my ruler to get a straight line. Next thing I'll be doing after marking the crotch depth is to label the parts of the pattern, which is the waist and then the crotch line or the hip line. So this is what I have at the moment. From there, I'll be putting in my hip measurement on the crotch depth. So that 10.5 I marked for the crotch line, I'll be marking that same 10.5 on that line. So from that front part, I'll be marking 10.5 in. So you can say I marked 10.25. That's because of the mistake I did on the paper, but then I later corrected it and then I marked it again. So 10.5. So like I said, add 1 into your hip. Whatever you get, you divide by 4. So you can see I've changed the lines. I changed it to 10.5 instead of the 10.25 I did earlier. So the next thing I'll be doing is to mark the same 10.5 inches on the waistline, and then I'll be connecting it together to get a straight line from the waist to the hip line. So after that, the next thing I'll be doing is to go out by 2 inches from that point, and then I'll be coming up by 2 inches. So after marking, I'll be connecting the points together either with my hand, or if you have a French curve, you can use it to draw the curve over there. So you are connecting from that 2 inches point to the other 2 inches up there. Next thing I'll be doing is to measure that line over there, which is 10.5 inches. I'll be marking that same 10.5 inches at the knee and then at the ankle line, since this is a loose pant. After marking, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to divide from that line to the ankle line into 2. Note the extra 2 inches added for folding is not part of this division. So after dividing it into 2, I'll be coming up by 2 inches to get the knee line. So after marking 2 inches, I'll be making it into a straight line at that point. and then I'll be connecting from the crotch line to the knee line and then to the ankle line with the help of my curve. So with the curve, I'll be connecting to the knee line, and then to the hem I'll be using a straight ruler to that part. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to come down by 1/2 inch from the center front of the waistline. So I just marked 1/2 inch down there, and then I'll be connecting it to the side of the waist with the help of my curve. The next thing I'll be doing is to cut out. So I just labeled the front part of the trouser, and then I'll go ahead and then cut it out. So since this part was on fold, I'm just dividing it into 2. Next thing I'll be doing is to use this front to cut out the back. So I've laid this fabric down and it is also folded into 2. I'll be placing the front part on top of it this way and then work on the back. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to divide that line into 2 minus the 2 inches I added. So the 10.5 inches from that point to that point into 2. I have 10.5 divided by 2 is going to be 5.25. So I'll be marking that 5.25 at the center on that middle line. I'm going to be marking that same 10.5 I marked for the waist. So I'll be marking 5.25 over here at the center, and then from that point I'll be marking my hip measurements again. That is 10.5. So from that point, just place your tape on it, and then the hip divided by 4, whatever you got, repeat it and then mark it over there. So you divide that line into 2, and then after getting the midpoint, you stand on the midpoint, or from the midpoint you are going to be marking your hip measurement divided by 4 again. So after that, you extend the lines like this, and then I'll be adding 1.5 inches to the waist. You can add 2 inches, that will be also okay. And then I'll be dividing this line into 2 and then go in by 2 inches, and then I'll be connecting from that point through to the new crotch line for the back. So you're going to be getting something like this. Now on the waistline, I'm going to be going up by 1.5 inches. Then I'll be connecting it to the new waistline and then connect it to the side. After marking, I'll be adding 1.5 inches to the knee and then the hemline, then connect the points together. I'm adding 1.5 because it's already loose. I don't want it to be very big, so you can actually use 2 inches, but then I'm using 1.5 inches, and then I'll be connecting from the new crotch line to that point, the knee line, and then I'll use a straight ruler to connect it to the hem of the pants. So like I said, if you want it to be very big, you can go ahead and then add extra inches to it. It will also be nice and it will look just okay. or you can maintain this measurements I just used. So that is it. Next thing I'll be doing is to cut out. I'm done with the back, so I'll go ahead and then cut it out. After cutting out, this is what I have, and it's now time to sew. So I'll be sewing at this point, and then I'll begin with the front part of the pants. Before that, I'll cut out the pockets. So I folded this fabric into two, and then I'll fold it into two again. Next, from the upper part, I'll be marking 10.5 inches down and then make it into a straight line by connecting the points together, and then I'll be shaping the pocket. So I'll be drawing in a curve at the side, just drawing a curve like this to shape the side of the pocket. So after the shaping, I'll go ahead and then cut it out. After cutting it out, I'll be marking 6.5 inches from the center there, and then 6.5 inches again. I want the size to be 6.5, so I'll be connecting it together and then cut out the excess fabric. After cutting out, I'll be working on the pocket. So the first thing I'll be doing is to fuse the size of the pants at the wrong side. So you can use either medium or soft interfacing for this. So just place it at the side and then press or iron it for it to stay. So the length of this is actually about 11 inches, but then it can be less because I only need about 7 inches of it, and then extra 1 inch, making 8 inches of it. So the next thing I'll be doing is to mark 1.5 inches at that side on both sides of the front pants. So I'll be doing the same thing at the other side, and then I'll be coming down by 7 inches. So after marking 7 inches, next thing I'm going to be doing is to make a notch at that part. So just cut about 1/4 of an inch over there, just to show you where you'll be ending your stitch when you start making the pockets. So after that, I'll connect from that point to that point, and then I'll be folding it in like this by pressing it so that it lies down flat. So after pressing, this is what I have. Next thing I'll be doing is to add the pockets to it. So with wrong side facing each other, I'm going to be placing them together like this, and then I'll be stitching just a little bit above the line. When you press the line that shows up over there, don't stitch on the line, stitch behind the line. So I'll be stitching behind the line, and I'll be closing that part as well. So after stitching, this is what I have. You can see I didn't stitch on the line. Next thing I'll be doing is to fold it this way, and then I'll be top stitching. So you're top stitching to that notch you made at the 7 inches point you marked. So you can use about 1/4 of an inch for the top stitching. After top stitching, this is what I have. Next thing I'll be doing is to flip the pocket to the other side this way, and then that 1.5 inches I marked and then folded in for the side of the pocket, I'll be repeating that same or marking that same 1.5 on the right side of the pocket like this, and then I'll be placing this on top of it. So we are replacing that 1.5 inch we took out for the pocket at the side. So after that, I'm going to pin it down and then stitch the upper part just to close it down, and then I'll be working at the lower part of the pocket. So after stitching that part, I'll be closing this part or stitching that part down as well to that notch I made over there. After stitching, this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to place the other side of the front on top of it, and then I'll be sewing or joining them together at the front part. So just pin it together and stitch about 1/4 of an inch over there. So this is what I have for the front part. Next thing I'll be doing is to join the back together as well. So I'll be stitching from the lower part to somewhere midpoint, just like this. We are not stitching to the end or the upper part of it. Next, I'll be placing the front on top of it this way, and then pin the sides and then stitch. So after stitching the sides, I'll be closing the inner part of it as well. So make sure the seams are meeting before you pin it down and then stitch. After pinning it down, I'll be stitching about 1/4 of an inch over there as well. So at this point, I'm done stitching. Next thing I'll be doing is to fold the waist together. So I'll be pinning the seams together at the side, at the center front, and then at the center back like this, and then place it down. So at this point, I'm going to be marking the hip measurement on the waistline. So whatever you have for the hip, you are going to be marking that same thing on the waistline. So I have 21 for the waist, so I'll be marking, for the hip. So I'll be marking it at that point, and then I'll close it permanently. After closing, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to work on the band. So this is about 5 inches, and then the length depends on the size of your waist. So the width is 5 inches, and then I folded 1/2 inch in on both sides, and then folded it on top of it like this, so that after everything the width will be 2 inches. So this is what I have at the moment, and then I'm going to be measuring it to mark my waist. So whatever your waist is, I'm using 21, and then I added extra 1 inch to it, making 22. So I'm going to be cutting it out at this point. The extra 1 inch is for sewing. So just cut out the excess, and then at this point I'm going to open it up this way with right side facing each other, and then I'm going to be stitching the 1 inch I added for sewing allowance on the wrong side. So after stitching, this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to close it or fold both sides in like this, and then this is what I have. So I'll be fixing the band to the trouser, so I'm just going to place it down, and then where there's the seam, I'm going to be joining it to the back by pinning. So after pinning the seams together, I'll now go ahead and then pin every other part of the band to the trouser itself through to the front part of the trouser. So just pin every part down, and then the folded 1/2 inch in is going to serve as a guideline for stitching. So after pinning, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to take it to the machine and then stitch on that 1/2 inch line I folded in. After stitching, this is what I have. So before I fold the other part on top, I'm going to be working on the front part of the trouser. I'm going to be creating a hole in front where I'll be inserting my rope. So pin the back down, fold it on top of it like I have done, and then pin the back down, pin the sides down as well, and then when we get to the front part, I'll show you what we are going to do. So after pinning the back and then the sides and then some parts of the front, I'm going to indicate the center line for the front, and then I'll be marking 1 inch on both sides. You can decide to mark about 1/2 and 1/4 on both sides, and then mark the center of those lines like I have done. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to create a hole inside. So just cut a little bit of it like I have done, and then I'm going to be using an eyelet to close the holes or secure the holes. So I'm going to be using my eyelet machine to create that. So at this point, I place the bigger one inside before the trouser band and then the flat part of the eyelet. So I'll be repeating the same step for the other side as well. So after fixing the eyelet, I'm going to stitch the front part of the band, stitch on the seam line at the front. So I'm going to be stitching on it, and then after that I'm going to stitch about 1/2 inch on the upper part and then the lower part of the band. So this is what I meant. So I stitched 1/2 inch on both sides, and then this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to insert my rope inside. So I'm going to be using this cord as the rope for the waist part of the trouser. So the length of this actually depends on the size of your waist. I'm using about 49 inches to 50, and then my waist is 28 or 29. I use either of that, so it depends on what you want to use. So that is it. This is all for the trouser, and then I'm using my matches to secure the ends of the cord. After burning the raw edges, I went ahead to tie it so that it doesn't pass through the eyelet. So that is all for the trouser. I hope you enjoyed these tutorials. Don't forget to like, comment and share my videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you get notified anytime I post my videos. Thanks for watching once again. Bye.